bustling ports of medieval Europe, ships came and went, their holds filled with precious spices, silk, and gold from the east. But one man dreamed of finding a faster route to these riches, a route that would change the world forever. In the narrow streets of Genoa, Italy, a young Christopher Columbus learned the art of seafaring. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Columbus was convinced of something remarkable. The world wasn't flat, but round. This belief would drive him to attempt one of history's most daring voyages. By the 1480s, the traditional trade routes to Asia were becoming increasingly dangerous and expensive. The fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire had made the land routes treacherous, while African routes remained long and perilous. Columbus had a radical solution: sail west to reach the east. For nearly a decade, Columbus walked the marble halls of European courts, trying to convince monarchs to fund his ambitious journey. Portugal rejected him. England ignored him. But in Spain, something remarkable happened. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, fresh from their victory over the Moors, decided to take a chance on this determined navigator. Dawn broke over the port of Palos on August 3, 1492. 3 ships stood ready: the Santa Maria, Columbus's flagship, and 2 smaller caravels, the Pinta and the Niña. 90 men would brave the unknown, many believing they might never return. As the Spanish coast disappeared behind them, the sailors entered waters no European had ever mapped. Days turned to weeks. The men watched familiar stars fade away as new constellations appeared. The compass began behaving strangely, and the winds that should have carried them home seemed to push them endlessly westward. By early October, tension aboard the ships had reached a breaking point.
I heard we're running out of food.
I want to go home.
The crew, terrified and homesick, whispered of mutiny. Columbus knew he was gambling with not just his dream, but with 90 lives. His log entries reveal his private anxiety, even as he maintained a brave face before his men. Then came the signs: floating branches with fresh berries, land birds that couldn't have flown from Spain. The air began to smell different, fresh, earthly. On October 11th, a green branch with flowers floated past. That night, Columbus spotted a light in the distance. At 2 a.m. on October 12, 1492, a sailor named Rodrigo de Triana shouted the words every man had longed to hear.
Tierra!
Land. After 36 days crossing an unknown ocean, they had found something, though not what they expected. The land they discovered wasn't Asia, but an island in the Bahamas, which Columbus named San Salvador. As he planted the Spanish flag in its shores, he couldn't have known that this moment would mark the beginning of a new age in human history. Columbus would make 3 more voyages across the Atlantic, gradually realizing that he had found not Asia, but something else entirely, a new world. His discovery sparked an age of exploration that would redraw the maps of the known world. The impact of Columbus's journey was profound and complex. It initiated an unprecedented exchange of cultures, ideas, and resources between Europe and the Americas. New foods like potatoes, tomatoes, and corn transformed European cuisine. Gold and silver from the Americas reshaped the global economy. But this meeting of worlds also brought profound challenges. European diseases devastated Native American populations. The colonization that followed Columbus's voyages would forever change the societies of both the Old and New Worlds, leading to consequences that we still grapple with today. 5 centuries later, Columbus's journey remains one of history's pivotal moments. While we now better understand its complex legacy, we can still marvel at the sheer audacity of those 90 men who sailed into the unknown, armed with nothing but courage and conviction. Columbus's story reminds us that the greatest discoveries often come from challenging accepted wisdom. His journey opened a new chapter in human history, connecting worlds that had developed in isolation for millennia. While he never found his route to Asia, he found something perhaps more valuable: proof that the world was far larger and more diverse than anyone had imagined. The medieval world of 1492 was forever changed by one man's determination to prove his theory. Columbus's journey didn't just cross an ocean, it bridged worlds, transformed continents, and started a chain of events that would shape the modern age. In seeking a new route to the known world, he led us all into an unknown one. In the end, Columbus's story teaches us that the greatest explorations often lead us not to where we intended to go, but to discoveries we never imagined possible. His journey changed our understanding not just of geography, but of what human beings could achieve when they dared to challenge the boundaries of the known world.